Niccolo Machiavelli was an Italian diplomat, philosopher, and writer who lived during the Renaissance period. He is known for his political treatise, The Prince, which is still studied today for its insights into politics and power. Here are some of his quotes that are better known among youth to not regret in old age. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity and are able to turn both to their advantage. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo. I want to overthrow it. All courses of action are risky, so prudence is not in avoiding danger. It's impossible, but calculating risk and acting decisively. The most effective way to protect your power is to let your subjects know that you are powerful. Never was anything great achieved without danger. A return to first principles in a republic is sometimes caused by the simple virtues of one man. His good example has such an influence that the good men strive to imitate him, and the wicked are ashamed to lead a life so contrary to his example. It is not the will of the majority that determines the rightness of an action, but the rightness of the action itself. Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. The more sand has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. Politics have no relation to morals. A prince must be a great leader and a great liar. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise that the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. It is not the greatness of a man's means that makes him independent, so much as the smallness of his wants. Men are so simple and yield so readily to the desires of the moment that he who will trick will always find another who will suffer to be tricked. The wise man does not expose himself unnecessarily to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing, in great crisis, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live. All men are bad. They are neither good nor bad by nature, but become so through culture and education. The fact is that a man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. In the affairs of this world, men are saved not by faith, but by the want of it. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. The greatest good fortune is when those who are closest to us understand our ideas. The more an action is steeped in logic, the less it is understood by the common people. It is necessary for him who lays out a state and arranges laws for it to presuppose that all men are evil and that they are always going to act according to the wickedness of their spirits whenever they have free scope. Before all else be armed. He who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building. It is necessary to be a fox to discover the snares and a lion to terrify the wolves. The ends justify the means, so long as there is something that justifies the ends. Fortune is a woman, and if you want to keep her under your control, you must beat and ill-use her. One change always leaves the way open for the establishment of others. The wise man does not expose himself unnecessarily to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing, in great crisis, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. The surest way to remain poor is to be an honest man. The greatest happiness is to be able to despise one's neighbor, and this happiness is impossible without vanity. When you disarm your subjects, you offend them by showing that either you distrust them or consider them dangerous. A prince should be slow to punish and quick to reward. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. All the states, all the dominions under whose authority men have lived in the past and live now have been and are either republics or principalities. The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise that the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not. The more you are praised, the more you are hated. War should be the only study of a prince. He should consider peace only as a breathing time, which gives him leisure to contrive and furnishes as ability to execute military plans. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. There is no other way to guard yourself against flattery than by making men understand that telling you the truth will not offend you. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. War is just when it is necessary. Arms are permissible when there is no hope except in arms. He who is the cause of another becoming powerful is ruined, because that predominancy has been brought about either by astuteness or else by force, and both are distrusted by him who has been raised to power.